In 2019, Samsung decided to deliver a mid-year refresh cycle for its mid-range Galaxy A series. For the early half of the year, the company released the Galaxy A50. With good specs for a reasonable 17,990 pesos price, it felt like Samsung finally know what it takes to be a mid-range contender. Fast forward to today and we have the Galaxy A50s retailing for 1,000 peso more. It's a slight bump in price, but there's also a slight bump in specs. But now that the A50 is down to 15,990 pesos only, should you still even consider getting the new model? Let's find out. Design-wise, the A50s still has that same all polycarbonate body, but instead of having a plain color in the back, it now has this geometric pattern to make you feel like you own a new phone. It's not as glaring as the Realme 5 series, but it's enough to make you notice it. Given you're dealing with a plastic phone, the price bump doesn't contribute to the overall feel when it's in your hands. Using the A50s basically feels using the A50. I won't bother you when it comes to the display, as you're still getting the same Super AMOLED experience that we have come to love from Samsung phones. That said, we can now proceed to the cameras. The A50 featured 3 cameras on the back, and it was such a delight to use given you have an ultra-wide option on a Samsung mid-range phone. In the case of the A50s, it gets the 48 megapixel Sony sensor treatment. These means photos should now have crisper quality. As for the rest, you still get that 8 megapixel ultra-wide and 5 megapixel depth sensors. With the new Sony optics, the A50s is more reliable than ever. Yes, you still get that saturated look and very bright output from the typical Samsung phone, but post-processing is getting better. You should have no problem getting great photos during broad daylight. Where you want to be aware when taking photos is during nighttime. Often the camera struggles to keep focus. You need to tap the subject that you're trying to focus on several times, and you don't want to use that ultra-wide angle at night too. Just take a look at this photo. Samsung did not forget to upgrade the selfie camera as it now uses a 32 megapixel lens, and with that massive lens, self-portraits are a bit better. Love how skin tones stay natural and a decent amount of sharpness. As always, beauty mode will make your face softer and whiter, but of course, that's a preference thing. It's typical Samsung when design gets prioritized over performance. When the A50 launched, it came with decent Exynos 9610 chipset. It gets social media tasks done just fine, but if you're planning to game, you need to dial down the settings. With the latest Exynos 9611 chipset that's based on the same 10nm node, expect a very slight performance upgrade. There's no extra boost in clock speed, but it performs slightly better than its predecessor. Don't expect the smoothest animations as Samsung One UI still requires a lot of power to render properly. While we can forgive the shortcomings of Samsung's Android skin, we can't say the same for the underscreen fingerprint scanner. Yes, it's futuristic and awesome to have, but it's frustrating to use. Sometimes, we'd rather have Face Unlock for quicker access in spite of the security concern. With the single down firing speaker, there's nothing special about it. It's still best to use the headphone jack for a much better experience. Samsung is sticking with the same 4000 mAh battery and 15 watts charging, and if you've seen our A50 review, our feelings are the same here. For a small price bump, you're also getting a small spec bump. While there's nothing wrong with the Galaxy A50s, we feel like this could have been the Galaxy A50 in the first place. Now that Realme 5 Pro and Redmi Note 8 Pro are on the market and have way cheaper price tags, this makes the A50s hard to recommend. Samsung is now back to square one when it comes to its mid-range smartphones. What do you think of this review? Let us know in the comments section. As always, visit manillashaker.com for the latest tech news and reviews.